Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Astra Space Inc. This is a satellite communication launching company. It makes rockets to send into near orbit. So stick away through the video and see if you can come to the same conclusions that I do with regards to investing in this company. So, as usual, we'll be using the SWOT analysis technique to work out what to do with this company. That is the strength of the company, the weakness of the company, the opportunities of the market, and the threats the market hold towards this company. That way we can just work out whether it's worth investing in or not. Very simple. Now, there aren't that many space tech companies out there, so they're quite interesting to look at going forward. This is one of the more interesting ones. The guys behind it used to have some other companies, and I think this was either a spin-off they've recombined into the original company, or it's the spin-off itself. I'm not sure. It's been linked with another company called Ventions, which appears to have been a 10-year-old company with partnerships going with NASA and another institution called DARPA. I'm not entirely sure how extensive DARPA is with everything. From our point of view, I suppose we should just look at this as a relatively new company. It's only a few years old, really, and it's had COVID smack in the middle of all that. If you look at the share price, it actually went it went to the stratosphere. Its share price was very high. This was due to them getting their first launch into orbit, and then obviously the tech bubble crashed at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, and as you look at the chart, you can see the share price drops dramatically by a factor of 20 for this company. It's got 4 rockets designs in production, and it's moving everything to the 4th one as we speak. They're very ambitious, as all of these companies really are. The problem is, since they've got into orbit, most of their performances have been quite lacking, and they're really struggling to actually get a return on I guess the intellectual investment they've put into it, with a number of failures, mainly with the version 3 rocket. They are moving on to the version 4. This is due for launch sometimes next year. I think that the biggest problem is it's a new company, and they're relying on technology that's come out of NASA mainly. When you compare this with SpaceX, which is Elon Musk's fabulous creation, although he did use Russian technology at the beginning, they've adapted it heavily for reuse, basically. Astra Space is looking at basically just getting craft into orbit at the moment. Small satellites, and there's a lot of emphasis on electric propulsion systems in orbit. Now, again, this basically means that there's not a lot of money coming in. All the money's being burnt up in R&D and the actual moving and operation of the systems itself, and the rockets. This basically means this is another value only share, which drives me crazy, because I really generally do believe that all shares should be dividend based. So you're not going to get any dividends off this, but given how far this company's shares have dropped compared to their peak, I think if there's a middle possibility in there, they could be talking about tenfold increase in your investment, potentially. Always got to say potentially with this. Now, this is a great company if you just take the people that have come from NASA going into this, and just the fact that they're not trying to be too extravagant in what they're doing. It's a very today technology, proven stuff that could be reliable. It's just coming from a private company. A lot of American space companies aren't doing that well at the moment, purely because investors can't afford to send rockets into space. They can't afford to put satellites up there at the moment. There's very little cash on the planet, there's very little trade on the planet. So can this company actually use its USP to actually take advantage of the market. Maybe as we go forward, maybe in 10 years time, maybe in 20 years time, we could be seeing an extreme opportunity there for it. So what can we see happening with this? If we just take the fact that the share price is so low, yeah, it could go up quite a bit. I think basically space technology will go one of two ways. It'll either be just like electric vehicles, where only the big manufacturers, the big military institutions are able to get their vehicles up there and their satellites up there, and everybody else piggybacks off the back of that, and we don't see anything more moving off the back of that. So that would basically be companies like what can I think off the top of my head? Let's say Lockheed Martin. They're quite a big company. They do a lot of aerospace production. Could it scale up to that? Maybe. It's more likely to be brought out by one of the big investment companies somewhere along the line as it gets everything up. One of the things I do like about this company is the fact that it does two-stage rockets rather than one-stage rocket. It's not trying to do SpaceX's let's build a giant rocket and get everybody to Mars by the end of the decade. It's just simply trying to kind of get controlled satellite orbital trajectories perfected, and it's only going from America at the moment, as you can see from the map, and obviously we're going to become Scotland soon, which could be interesting because this is a new spaceport that's opened up in the UK. It could be forming part of a new industry that's out there of getting smaller rockets and things to operate willy-nilly. There's some decent opportunities there in the market. Haven't come across any evidence that they want to do people shuttling into orbit, so they're not joining that cabal of billionaires that want to massage their egos moving people into space. So I don't know how much potential profit is there, but if they're not doing tourism, it basically means they're perfecting something else entirely different, which, if we were to use an analog of road vehicles, this would make it more like JCB or Caterpillar in the States, rather than let's say a tourist vehicle company like I don't know, some bus company, or Norwegian Cruises or something like that, which I think works in its favour and gives it a lot more respect from the people who are looking at technology of this magnitude and this type. I think it's more likely that let's fantasize about this growing as it goes on. It could become a small company providing all the small stuff in a new market, but the big boys will be out there taking over everything. And the big boys are going to be companies like Virgin Galactic. They're going to be people like Rocket Labs USA, Lockheed Martin, as we've already discussed, obviously SpaceX, which is going to dominate everything, as well as traditional companies like NASA, like ESA, the Indian Space Agency, the Chinese space agencies, even the Japanese space agencies, which are all kind of pushing very far forward and have a tremendous amount of capital behind them. This is a small company which, if it was British, we'd be describing it as basically being the garage business. I think there's a similar term in the States where you guys would refer to it on such a small scale. Although the people behind it obviously are great engineers, they're very young. There's no kind of Rutland behind this one who's had like decades of experience building rockets. These guys are all in their 40s and 50s and a lot younger, working with them on top. So do I think that we're going to be seeing dividends coming off this company in the future? I think it's really, really highly unlikely. But it's a good company. It looks good. I like the rockets. Like I said, I like the two-stage stuff. I like the fact that they're consciously trying to use electro-thrust technology for their orbital maneuvers. I think there's good potential there. I love any company which basically tries to do something unique compared to everybody else rather than just blasting a rocket into space. You have this with Virgin, who fire rockets off the back of planes. Obviously you have it with SpaceX, which tries to return the rockets down to Earth. So it's worth looking at. It's your choice going forward. So that's it for now. If you like this, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.